following program may contain coarse language, suggestive dialogue, and discussion of violent imagery and sexual situations. It is intended for mature listeners who can tell the difference between facts and opinions.
The demon world's about to have a little problem. On this episode of the Toonami Faithful Podcast, I am your host, Sketch, and with me I have...
Pub Skrilla, the founder of ToonamiFaithful.com.
And...
Editor for ToonamiFaithful.com, Happy Kuro Kitty.
And...
An editorial writer, Laser Kid.
And bringing up the rear.
Late as always, social media superstar, Stephen.
Well, it was another fine week of Toonami programming, so we have all the usual things to recap. And though we won't really do an extensive recap of Dragon Ball Daima, I'm sure we'll still talk about it a little bit. Let's get kicked off with Lazarus. Episode 11, Running with the Devil. Remember when they used that line in, I think it was a Blue Exorcist promo?
I think I actually made that joke about using it in a Blue Exorcist promo.
It's a Van Halen song.
Pretend Toonami lineup we did.
Who here knew it was a Van Halen song without looking it up?
I mean, I did, but...
Good. I was going to be really disappointed.
I love my classic rock.
Yeah. So the majority of this episode is Axel dealing with the assassin, but in the meantime, Hirsch has decided to show up on Inscom's front door to be like, hey, call off your people in Istanbul that are going after my people. Otherwise, I'll leak all your dirty little secrets. And Smugface Schneider is like, oh yeah? That's all you got? Okay, well, we're going to detain you for treason or something. But before she leaves, she gives Chris and Leland the instruction to pass a message to a man who will show up. Who is that man but Abel, finally revealing himself, at least to Christine. And you're like, yeah, so I'm the guy who started Lazarus, by the way. Thanks for your participation. Leland already knew me. It's complicated. Don't worry about it. But over in Istanbul, Doug and Elena are going after Popcorn Wizard, trying to figure out where Skinner is, because Popcorn Wizard has, of course, the information related to his heart. So they're hoping that if they track down Popcorn Wizard, then they can find out where Skinner is. And Elena is not doing well. She's very feverish, but they're getting tailed by some military guys. So Doug says, okay, well, you go on your own and I will be a distraction. By the way, I'm not going to fight him. I'm just going to surrender. That'll buy enough time.
Yeah, that's it. That works.
It does buy enough time, but it's not the best plan because he's like, hey guys, I'm here. Hands up. Okay, hey, where'd the other one go? And then they, beat him up for the trouble.
It worked,
she goes
though.
off. Yeah, it did.
And he shoots the tire.
Yeah,
cool.
He does shoot the tire. That was pretty rad. There's actually quite a few clips in this episode that made it into the original promo. Like when Chris says, "Can I use an assault rifle?" You are authorized to use anything. Yeah, she takes an assault rifle on her motorbike down to help Axel out once they realize that he's being attacked in the middle of a very crowded road. There is a whole lot of collateral damage. Like, this assassin does not give a shit. He kills so many people, I'm sure. Throwing grenades, exploding cars, just just to get to Axel. And well, he does seem to be a fairly formidable foe against Axel, but Axel does manage to basically run away from him for the most part. But
That
eventually, it
that
doesn't.
coin drop. He did this
Yeah.
coin drop evasive maneuver and then got back on his feet, and I was like, that was beautiful. Beautiful. Loved it.
There's some very unrealistic things about what Axel manages to do in this fight.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, no, he shouldn't have been okay landing from that. That time, a little bit more so, it would have been okay. But that, what? I do love when they have that little exchange. It says, "Oh yeah, death is an old friend of mine."
That was kind of great.
That was a good line.
It
Do you
was.
dance? Do you dance with death?
Yeah.
Or something like that.
You
Yeah.
Dance with Devil in Pale Moonlight? Oh, wait.
Yes. He should have said it. I mean, this show's made so many other references. Why not? Yeah. But it's certainly quite the sequence of events. Very explodey, very action-packed. With more of Axel stunting. And also this guy is just crazy with all that he can do with knives and wires and man. Certainly pretty exciting stuff. But he does manage to mess up Axel's hand, which hinders his mobility a bit. And eventually, he ends up on a boat with Axel, which... How did he get from where he was onto the boat before Axel could even stand up?
Super powerful assassin from, like, anime. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that the assassin was in fact the other guy. He definitely has the same voice. So I think it's just a multiple personality thing or something. That's my theory anyway.
Well, there's definitely something going on with this guy's head. There's definitely been some programming.
He has some repressed memories that get triggered when he sees that charm that Axel has around his neck. And it takes him back to his training days. And I was like, oh, so that's why this episode was rated TVMA, because wow. Pretty gruesome flashbacks. Honestly, really reminds me of the first episode of Demon Slayer with all the mangled, bloodied bodies.
Yeah.
But we don't really understand what this guy's deal is. He's relating the charm back to it was a specific thing. Blinking on what it was.
It was some kind of painting of this winged god, if you will. I don't know. And some kind of training regimen that he was going through.
Yeah.
That was my impression.
So it does make you wonder why Axel has that, and if
I
it's
believe
related
that's the point.
to,
Yeah.
So it does manage to trip him up long enough that Chris is able to get a good clean shot on him, and we don't know if he's alive. But Axel has collapsed because he had a freaking pole pushed right through him.
He was impaled. It was upsetting.
Yeah.
I'm upset about it.
Yeah, but good old Toonami had to go and spoil that he's okay.
I can see the parachutes. They're going to be okay.
In the next episode preview, he's in bed rest, and Christine tells him there's 1 day left in 24 hours left in Skinner's doomsday. Got any regrets? It's like, nah, I don't got any regrets. How about you? And she kisses him.
I guess that was the regret.
Don't give it away. I didn't see that. Damn.
How did you not? I mean, it happened right after the episode.
I got up. It was a commercial.
Good job, Kuro.
Jesus
All right.
Christ!
I spoiled it for somebody who Toonami hadn't already spoiled it for.
All right.
I was
Mission
hesitant
failed
about bringing it up,
successfully?
but
Does nobody
Sorry,
get
Kuro.
up during commercials? Come on.
not during Toonami. The commercials are part of Toonami. I mean,
They are. I was hungry. There were snacks to be gotten. What do you
look,
expect?
once the bump starts airing, you're usually in the clear because they tend to air something before the bump happens. But even sometimes in that case, they'll air something before the bump and then they'll air something after the bump. It kind of depends.
I think I've just gotten to the habit of not watching the preview to not spoil anything for myself.
I mean, that's a legitimate choice.
I was spoiled because I saw someone post on things like, thanks, Toonami. I'm like, okay, well, they spoiled something. And then I saw it.
So I guess
Thank
she swings
Sketch.
both ways.
It's not even Toonami's fault. It's Sketch's fault now.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I would have seen it one way or another on Twitter because I saw.
Because
it
anyone who
posted
missed
after.
it like me, now you know.
I mean,
You
I didn't
know.
watch it on Toonami either. I watched it on Max the next day because Saturday's my role play game night.
Right.
But
right. Success or failure, depending on how you look at it.
that fight was awesome. I ended up watching that episode more than one time.
That
It was
fight
so good.
does make it kind of worth it to have this character around because it was a really good fight, and they
Mhm.
seem to be tying it into things, which is nice. I just
Yeah.
wish we had a little bit more time to actually work on that.
Oh yeah, because there's only 2 episodes left, and so many
And
threads.
4 hours apparently.
Hirsch is detained. Abel is going
Captured.
going to
Elena
see
has
if
got
she
a
can-
fever. Axel's impaled. It's all kinds of shit.
Yeah,
Everything's
things are bad.
gone.
Leland's doing all right. He's holding down the fort, and Chris
You
has
know something's
rescued
gonna
Axel.
show up there. We have
And
to hold up
Abel
the
is
fort.
attempting to get Hirsch out of detainment. Don't know how well that's gonna go.
What is the INSCOM objective here? I mean, do they just don't care if the world burns? Seriously.
Apparently?
Seems that way. It seems like they had some dirty dealings involving Hapna that they want brushed under the rug, but because Axel is still alive, that's one hanging thread.
It
Also,
seems to me
Axel's-
like. Oh god.
Axel is he's supposed to have been finding that contact. I don't even know if that's even gonna happen now. But probably.
I have an inkling. I wouldn't call it a theory. I just have an inkling that Skinner is not as responsible for all of this as was initially assumed. That INSCOM bears a lot more responsibility for the situation, and it may not be exactly
Starting
what
to
people
agree
think
with
it
you on
is.
that. That
Yeah,
very
and
well may be.
And maybe it's not a complete global doom and gloom. Maybe it's like selective. I don't know. I just have a weird feeling about them and their role and all of this, and it's just an inkling. But I've been as a Skinner apologist through all of this, all the INSCOM action and their determination to slow down Lazarus really sends up a lot of red flags for me. But this was such a great
Yes.
episode. I had to watch it twice. There's a lot going on.
I haven't even mentioned yet that Elena does manage to track down Popcorn Wizard and kind of faints in front of
Gosh.
Popcorn Wizard.
I wonder how she got sick because she's just suddenly sick out of nowhere.
That's the
Oh.
sign, the COVID sign.
Yeah,
As we
it's
said
Ah.
last-
either
we
it's
said that
either
last week.
a sign of Hapna or something.
Oh, that makes sense. That could be.
You'd think that Popcorn Wizard would be more like, oh no, you found me, but she's more like, yo, you found me.
She's excited. She seems like that kind.
Yeah.
Hardcore?
I think she'll be
Very
good.
hardcore.
She'll take care of Elena. I feel like she'll look after her.
Good, because she needs it. Also, Elena, I know it was a desperate measure, but like driving a motorbike in your condition was not the best idea. Thankfully, you're okay.
I have not had a fever since I was a child, so I have no context for what it
Oh.
feels like to have a fever and to try and do these activities.
It feels like death.
You be more
Yeah.
You're
specific.
just so drained that it's just energy is not there. You feel you want to pass out.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had
It's,
like fatigue. I mean, I've had fatigue certainly, but never fever.
it's
Like
a pretty
for a long,
extreme
long
case
time.
of fatigue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So
Yeah, I don't get fevers really.
lucky you.
I know it's one thing had to go right. Okay. I'll
It's the
take it.
balance against the allergies and everything
Uh,
else.
exactly. I'll take it. I'll take what I can get.
Well, Paul, what did you think of this episode?
Well, I think all those clues that they keep dropping were useless at this point.
I told you they were red
Hmm.
herrings.
It
Yeah,
just I'm
the
like,
flower
okay,
might
so
not mean
wait,
anything.
the US government has like had him all this time and they're just hiding him? Like what is going on here?
Well,
we
if that's the
don't know
case,
that
how did
for
his
sure.
video get out where he's like, oh, you only have a couple more days? Where'd that come from if the government has him?
Well, we contemplated that last week, that he could have made these messages beforehand before he
Yeah.
got captured and
That's fair.
released them on like a timeline.
I do find it interesting that he has a video where he's like, "Oh, you guys should come and try to find me." And I'm like, "Okay. Oh, by the way, I'm going to be the first one to die." Wait, what? I'm confused. Like,
Well,
okay, so now you want us to come find you, but you're about to die. Okay.
That actually kind of makes a little more sense with the idea the government has him. Get me out of here.
True.
Yeah. Yeah.
By the way,
He's going to die if nobody comes. So,
I didn't know, and I don't remember what his name is, but is that dude supposed to be like a prince, or is he just mega rich, or what is he supposed to be?
Leland?
Yeah.
His family's wealthy, but yeah.
Well, I mean, you look at all the photos in the background, and you're not the photos, the portraits, and you're like, is this like a royal family or something? Like,
Aristocrats, if whatever the hell that means.
yeah, whatever it is. But I'm sitting here going, so you gonna pay for all this?
No, the government's paying for all of it.
It would be funny if at some point he's just like, they're just like,
Where do you think he got all that
Here-
money for them drones?
that's true. That is true. I just want to know
Nah,
like
they probably
why.
pay for that.
I want to know why he was spying. Like, how much trouble did he really get into?
Who could say? I think they just wanted. I think Laser brought this up, that he's just kind of just eyes on the situation to make sure things are held accountable.
That was definitely my impression, is that, you know, you have this group of people who knows what they're going to do. You kind of want someone to ensure that your investment's not just being wasted.
Yeah, and
By the way,
we now have to believe that Leland did in fact get into some trouble because his sister talked about bailing him out before. So.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting that, and I wonder if that has a connection of why Skinner did this, but it's kind of fucked up that they experimented on that whole prison
Oh yeah.
and they didn't have any knowledge. Oh, and by the way, it's good that he got out and he's part of Lazarus now, because guess what? Everybody else is dead. So it's like, okay. Like, I don't think you really need to like kill the whole prison, but all right, more power to you. Like, and I'm waiting to see like who this witness he was supposed to get, what his part in all of this is too, because
Director.
That'll
point-
probably be enlightening as well.
The whole point of experimenting on the prison inmates, I mean, they used death row inmates because they were already going to die. They weren't intending to do it to kill them. They were trying to get side effects of whatever medication, which was we know was a predecessor for the current Hapna. It was a prototype, if you will, and so I don't think they were purposely trying to kill them. They were just testing for effects. So it was incidental that most of them died as a result. But some of them were already going to die. Not justifying it at any means. It's more of a like their heartless reasoning in this. But again, non-consensual human testing is wrong. It's very, very wrong. It's really twisted.
That's to say that Axel was a death row inmate. I know his
life. It was
his-
life.
he was
versus
like-
He
death
was a
row.
life. He was a life.
his multiple
inmate.
life sentences were
Yeah.
ridiculous, but like, did he do something that was death row worthy at some point?
No, because if he had, they were he at the beginning of the season they talked about that, and he said his prison sentence was exponentially growing because of his attempts to escape, and I use that word correctly.
Yeah,
Most people don't.
but he shouldn't be on death row just because of that. That doesn't.
He's a lifer though. They said death row inmates and life inmates.
Yeah. So he
That's-
wasn't on
but-
death row.
No,
He
was
wasn't
just
on
at the
death row.
prison. He was just at the
Yeah.
prison of high security risks.
Yeah, they
Right.
should not. They should not be doing that to lifers. Even though
Hey.
they.
They shouldn't be doing it at all. It's
I
pretty
mean, yeah,
fucked
but
up. Pretty fucked
but I
up.
mean, like, whatever his initial crime was, it's it's not justifiable for, it. Not that it was justifiable, but it's extra not justifiable. You know what I'm saying?
Man, the future looks pretty grim. Apparently,
Yeah, this is only
nobody
like 30
has
years in the
rights.
future.
I know, and I'm thinking, wow, really?
Yeah, it's not good.
Pretty bad.
Yeah, it's going downhill fast.
You have any thoughts on this episode, Steven?
Yeah, I gotta say the Phantom Assassin, the Ghost, and Axel fight was amazing, like everyone states. It's some great animation right there. Aside from that, like, we have what, 2 episodes left?
Mm-hmm.
A bump goes directly from 5 days to about little less than 24 hours.
Yep.
How? I mean, not saying how does it not work, but like, I don't know, those words came out wrong. But
Oh, that's a good point. I mean, with the current status of every character right now, how a lot could happen in 5 days. So
Axel's out, so they couldn't do anything for those 5 days. Let's say he was surgery, coma, whatever, he was out. You have less than 24 hours to solve something. You're not Scooby-Doo. I mean, so I don't know how that's going to work.
If it worked for those meddling kids.
Listen,
Um,
listen, Steven, they're gonna all
yeah.
turn into zombies, and
it
that's
was
gonna be
old
season
man
2.
Schneider all along.
yeah. I do wonder. So it's weird. You have less than 24 hours to solve this. If I'm looking at this right, you're probably going to solve this halfway through the last episode, or there will be some weird recap thing saying, this is what it is, an end cap thing on the 13th episode, and they will
Why-
solve it.
Time out. Were you
No.
getting 24 hours? They at the end of the episode they said 5 days left.
Yes, but then the
Episode
bump
preview.
preview says 24 hours.
Okay, but let's not get ahead of the actual
Okay.
episode. The episode
Okay.
itself it says 5 days left.
That's a
Okay.
good point. What we see in that scene could have been like late in the next episode. It could have.
Okay,
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
So yeah, I might be.
actually.
I'm getting ahead of myself there. Then,
You're
Um,
jumping ahead, Steven. Go to the corner.
I know I'm too far in the future. I need to go back in time. It's a great episode. I don't understand Incom's goal. That's what I don't understand.
Yeah,
And maybe
none of
I'm
us
not
do.
supposed to understand that, but it doesn't make sense. Why would you try to stop Axel, the only surviving one? Makes sense why you're trying to cut everyone, all your uh, get all the ducks in a row and get eliminated everything else. But you tried to eliminate Skinner in the quote unquote terrorist thing that with the highly controlled or highly concentrated form of Hapna, which killed about almost a lot of people there, which I want to say maybe Skinner didn't escape that without anything. But you tried to do that, but then you're just going to let the world die? Just let the world die. Why are you going after Axel? I mean, it unless there's something in there that it's like they are immune from it and they just want to run everything.
Yeah, that was my X-File brain thinking a little
yes.
bit.
And this is this is kind of pulling, but this whole show has been a little bit of a meta commentary, if not a screaming commentary, on climate change. Why are people? I think this is a similar commentary on why do people try to fight over climate change when if we don't take care of it, well, we're all dead.
Mm.
I think it's meant to be a commentary on that. People can be short-sighted.
True.
Well, I find it interesting that he had to get a artificial heart. Skinner did,
hmm
and number one, there was a tracker on it, but number two, somehow he encrypted the tracker. I'm like,
Pretty smart.
okay. I'm like, all right, this is getting a little bit more diabolical as we go. But yeah, I mean, is Skinner really alive? Is he actually already dead? And these are pre-recorded things, and is maybe Axel the key to the whole thing? Because if you're trying to kill Axel, there's a reason, and it's probably not just because he was one of the prisoners. So, does he have the cure?
So what you're trying to say, Paul, is Axel is Skinner's son.
I'm sure. Why not? let's just go there. Why not? No, I wasn't going there. I was just it's somewhere in there. Maybe these actual hints like fit. I don't think he's his son, but maybe those experiments made a discovery that maybe Axel is the one that had, like, maybe whatever they did to Axel produced a antigen, so to speak, or whatever, a cure. And maybe he's the one that has the cure, and that's why they're trying to kill him. I don't know. It's very interesting that they decided to go after him in particular.
Oh, they're trying to silence any information about their, misdeeds.
But if they're the whole world's going to die. Why would you
Yeah.
silence the one thing in 30
Because they're
days
not
if
thinking-
everyone
because-
died?
Exactly.
Because they don't think it's going to die. Because why would people thinking logically? Again, the previous comment, it's people who are just going on as if there's no difference. Whether, damn the facts.
Inclined to think that Axel does have something important. He does play a role in this beyond what is known. I'm not going to
we
speculate
really-
further than that, but I do think he's his survival. The fact that he's a survivor of these experiments and that he says the Hapna didn't work on him. I think that is important somehow. I don't know
Yeah.
what beyond that.
Well, they
Right.
did go
And-
around to kill all of the other survivors as well, so it's not just him.
Yeah. True. But that's again, like I'm trying to like figure out, because they hired Ghost to go after him, or they hired Ghost, and we were all thinking, I think we were all thinking like, oh, they're gonna go after the team and kill them all, but they went particularly after Axel, so that something there just doesn't add up.
Right.
But
they're going after him because he has knowledge of those experiments.
but the one thing that we didn't talk about was his necklace. What does that signify?
Now that is a good question.
Yeah. Like, was Axel part of something before all of this? Like, is he maybe, because I mean, let's face facts here. This dude is not normal. Like, Ghost should have killed him in 2 seconds, and he's keeping up with him. So, uh, what's going on here? Is he like maybe something more that we don't know about? I mean, it does make sense if there's more of a story to Axel, and I mean, because presumably they want to make this more than one season, or they said that this is something they want to make into multiple seasons. Which, looking at all the ratings and how it's doing, I don't see why that wouldn't get a second season at this point. Oh, by the way, can I point out, and give me some wood somewhere? We're at episode 11 and it hasn't gone off the fucking rails. Can we get a clap for that?
Yeah,
Can we get
wasn't-
a clap for that?
I was confident it would. It was Watanabe working on it. I was confident it wasn't going to go the way Fenna, not go the way of Fenna.
I wasn't confident, but so far, knock on wood, we haven't had any like giant robots on surfboards. I'm exaggerating, but you understand what I mean. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
You wish there were giant robots on surfboards in Ninja Kamui.
We dig giant robots.
no, don't get me started.
Oh
be here all
God,
night.
right. You're right. You're right. I wasn't thinking of that.
You don't remember you don't remember the old episodes of the podcast, do you?
No, I wasn't here.
I mean, we could do Tsunami Faithful Podcast is sponsored by giant robots on surfboards.
Oh my God.
But anyways,
Okay, yeah.
yeah, I know I was going off the rails. Sorry. Speaking of that,
Back on topic.
but yeah, I honestly, like, out of everything so far, like, that's the most refreshing part, is that this actually seems like a normal good series that hopefully we don't have to worry about ending terribly, and hopefully if it continues the way it has been and it has a good ending, like a good ending for a season, I should say, we're going to get to see more of this.
Maybe.
I mean, we never predicted 2 seasons of Ninja Kamui, but here we are. 2 new seasons are coming.
Not sure
Here
that's,
we
that's a choice. That's a choice they have made.
Interesting use of money.
I mean, listen, it's that show did really well for them. I mean, you could see it.
Sure. I'm
You
not
could see
questioning
it.
that. I
You could see
question
it just on Max.
I question the viability story wise, not the viability popularity wise.
Well, right, and that's going to be the interesting part. What are we going back to? Are we including some of the original characters? Is it a whole new story? Like,
I fear we're gonna have Fully Cooley sequels all over again. That's what I'm.
That's
worried
what I
about.
thought.
We know that Joe Higun is gonna be the main character again.
yeah,
So I certainly hope that Mike and Jason show up again, because Joe as a singular character is not that interesting.
it's going to be Taken. That's what it's going to be.
Okay.
You took my daughter.
Uh-oh. Is Team a live kid coming back with a vengeance.
Oh no!
Oh,
Swear to
Lord.
God. I swear to fucking
Hey.
God.
Okay, I'm not gonna even argue anything, but if I will say if that happens, I'm gonna laugh. That's all I'm gonna say.
It's not gonna fucking happen.
I'm
We
not
need
saying-
to let that die. Kill it now. It's
I'm not
dead.
arguing
The
it.
kid
I'm not
is
gonna
dead.
argue it.
The theory is dead. It's all dead. It's dead, dead, dead.
There is
Let
no
it
theory
go.
at this point. I'm just it would just be funny.
I
and
didn't
I'm
bring
not
it
saying
up.
gonna
It's
happen.
not me.
I will
You
Sketch, I
actually
will
did,
reach
though.
through the microphone and strangle you. I swear. You did that on
I
purpose.
did not bring up the kid. I did not. Well, okay, I
All
said the
right, this
daughter.
episode's definitely called "Sketch Ruins Everything."
Oh, no.
But no, I did not say that. Well, I said it's gonna be like taking the daughter, like a daughter, like maybe whatever. But I was not even thinking that. Now you make me. I was like, wait a minute.
Oh my God. We need to
So-
talk about Bleach.
Yeah. I need to drink some bleach now.
All right. On to
I
episode
mean, I'll listen to you
5.
guys talk about it.
This is pretty
On to
good.
episode 5 of Bleach: 1,000-Year Blood War. Wrath as a Lightning. I did double check. That is the title and grammar.
Yeah, this is some English.
Yeah.
I wonder what was it in Japanese?
Oh, good question. Probably
Maybe this was
sounded
a-
a lot cooler.
It's a bad translation, is my guess.
I mean, it's written in clear English in the like the start of the episode, so
Yeah, disappointing.
right. And when we last left our Bleach, Ichigo was trapped in some kind of energy jail. That is apparently Kilge's special jail power. That's why he's Stern Ritter J for jail. Very clever. And I guess he's not actually dying. I thought he was like that move was supposed to be his last gambit, and like, well, I'm dying, but you're not getting away. No, he seems to be among the living at least a little bit longer. That is until an unseen assailant seems to probably do him in, and Kisuke recognizes him, and all he says is, "Oh shit," which who could that be?
I wonder.
I have a theory, but I'm just gonna keep it to myself because I know Laser's not gonna tell me one way or the other.
I will laugh either way, but I would love to hear it.
Okay, my theory is it's Ichigo's dad.
That's a theory.
Say that again?
I think it's Ichigo's dad.
You think what is Ichigo's dad?
The unknown assailant that probably killed Kilgay.
Okay.
And Kisuke's like, oh shit.
Yeah, okay.
Like,
Okay.
what would surprise Kisuke?
I think you're either onto something. It's either Ichigo's dad or I was thinking Uryu's dad.
Ryuken? Also an interesting theory.
I think either father is
Or it
They
could
would-
it could be Uryu himself. But
no.
I'm not sure how he would have gotten there.
No, I don't think Uryu.
I don't think that he would have surprised Kisuke.
No, he would have announced himself.
He would have.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Ryuken or Uryu would have been like, "Hi, I'm Uryu. What's up?"
Yeah. So Ichigo can like hear the voices of many Soul Reapers crying out in desperation as he's trapped in this cage. He's like, let me out! Let me out of the cage!
He's got that cell phone.
Yeah, he does.
Cell phone's giving him Jedi powers.
Yeah. Like, it's weird, because it's definitely... He is connected to, like, the office, and he's trying to talk to Akon, and some other people are like... But he's hearing all these other voices, and he's like, Renji, Rukia... Yeah, they're not doing so well.
No.
It's pretty.
Things
that
are
was
not
pretty
going
difficult.
well for the Soul Reapers right now.
No. And case you wondered what it would be like if Byakuya had somebody else use his Bankai on him, yeah,
Now you know.
it's bad. Very bad. Byakuya and Renji engage in the fight against Esanote, who had a much deeper voice than I was expecting. And Esanote's power is like awakening these fear thorns. It's like,
Oh,
yes,
this guy.
Byakuya, it's something you've forgotten long ago. Fear. Like, okay, buddy, whatever.
To quote a friend who watched it with me, okay, Dr. Crane, it's time to go back to the hospital.
Yeah, right. But legitimately, Byakuya's like, yes, I'm feeling something. I'm not quite sure what, but fear might be it, yeah. But, oof, that Bankai does some damage, for sure. Is he dead? I think he might be dead. Don't say.
I ain't saying shit. The only thing I wanted to warn people about was all of this. Because
Yeah.
this is not what you'd expect out of Bleach. I'm not going to tell you guys what happens. That's no fun.
Yeah. You're not like me, spoiling things.
I'll at least wait till it's on Toonami.
There you go.
You like walk the line very delicately, Laser.
I have experience
to
because I have a group
along
of
the
people I
line.
watch
A
stuff
lot of
with.
people are really bad at keeping their poker face, but you're
Thankfully,
pretty
you
good
can't.
at it.
You can't see my face. That's what makes my life easy here.
Ah, yeah, that does help.
I could grin like an idiot. You won't see it.
The man, the myth, the legend, Kenpachi Zaraki seems to be one of the only Soul Reapers that can do some serious damage against the Stern Raiders. He's taken out Stern Raider R, Jerome Guzbat, Stern Raider Q, Bernice Gabrielli, and Stern Raider Y, Lloyd. And he confronts Yuha and his right-hand man,
That's
Jugram
never gonna get old.
Hoshwolf. And is like, you've defeated 3 of the Sterners? Like, yeah, that big guy was the easiest one. And then this one was such a punk. And then this one turned into me. And then I just fought better than myself. That is some Kenny logic, and I'm here for it.
Gosh. Kenpachi is so much fun in this arc.
So it's not surprising that he is OP enough to actually handle these threats. But of course, Yuha is a whole nother level. So yeah, that doesn't go well. Does not go well.
Yeah. Kenpachi's awesome. He's not beating the final boss awesome.
No. But it's time at last. Yamamoto's stepping up. He saves the 9th Division Lieutenant Shuhei Hisagagi from Stern Raider O Driscoll Bursey, who this punk is all like, oh yeah, I took that one guy's Bankai. Ha 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 ha. Now I'm gonna use it on you. And then we get a really nice flashback where Genryu Sai, before he was known as that, they started calling him AG Sai because of a scar on his face.
It resembles some kanji or something.
Yeah. And then Sasakabe, who he affectionately refers to by first name Chojuro. Chojuro is as a young cadet said, Master, I finally developed a Bankai. Yes, show it to me, young one. Ah, your Bankai is very good, but it is incomplete. But this new scar, now everybody's calling me Jujisai, which I like a lot better. But then he decided to take on the name Genryu Sai. And that's what he's been ever since. And obviously he's lived a very, very long time. But it was interesting to see him much, much younger. Still rocking the stash, though.
Genryusei Yamamoto was, and always shall be a badass.
Truly. Like, he takes that Bankai is all like, yep, that's pretty good, but you're going to work on it. So this other guy, Driscoll, he tries to use the same Bankai. He's like, ha! This is pathetic. Like, it's crazy lightning power. He's one of the only other Soul Reapers that can like affect the weather the same way that Hisagaya's can. And it's just really, really intimidating looking, but Yamamoto's like, this is nothing compared to what Sasakibe could do. So, of course, he kills this guy, saves Kenpachi from Yuhabaha, and he also inspires all the other Soul Reapers to keep fighting. Particularly, Shunsui is like, well, dang, if the old man's fighting and telling me, like, I didn't raise you like that, you better get up on your feet and fight. And all the other Soul Reapers get another wind, because now Yamamoto's fighting, and dang, he wrecks. So that's the episode. Kuro. A little bit less death and destruction in this one.
Yeah, it was really nice to see not so much hopelessness and Kenpachi being able to fight back and defeat, and also Yamamoto stepping in and able to defeat Stern Ritters, because it just felt really ridiculous that they had no recourse for these guys and no way to fight back, and that, you know, they were expecting this teenager to come and save them all. So I feel like the plot realized the writer realized, okay, we can't have it all just go to complete crap for the Soul Reaper, so let's give them a little fight back. And it's great seeing Kenny, you know, being Kenny. I also thought the beginning of it, where you see Ichigo listening to the voices of the Soul Reapers, and he's just in agony and torture, that was a pretty well done scene. And it's very intense way to open it. You can just cure his agony, because he's essentially being tortured by the cries of his friends that he can't help. So I expect that this jail is not going to hold him for long, but it's certainly sad. I also, you know, like we said about the assailant, the unseen assailant. I was thinking definitely one of the two dads, obviously. I find it interesting that Urahara wouldn't recognize or see or notice, you know, one of them. And I also, where I'm at in my own Bleach watch, I haven't actually seen Urahara fight yet, so I don't know what his abilities are. So in my mind, like, he's really OP and he's got these fantastic abilities, so I was just waiting for him to come out and start, you know, kicking ass, and he's not doing anything, and I'm like, come on, Urahara must be able to handle this. And I also have a slight theory about why Ichigo's Bankai can't be stolen. I feel like, and again, this is based off of a not complete picture of everything, but maybe it has something to do with his holification.
That's an interesting theory.
I mean, that's the one thing that makes him unique, him and then the other holified former Reapers, which we haven't seen them engage, so we don't know, but that's the one thing he would have.
Shinji hasn't tried to use. Does Shinji have a Bankai? I don't remember.
He absolutely has a Bankai. I will
Okay.
absolutely let you know that.
Right. So maybe it doesn't work on Shinji either, but Shinji's like, these guys are idiots using their Bankais against him. I don't know if he'll ever actually do it.
It is a really interesting choice to see Yamamoto engage so early with Bwahaha.
Well, I mean, if the big bad's on the field, why wouldn't he?
You
Sure.
got the king on the field. You send the other king on the field. It makes sense.
I just am getting Naruto vibes from this. This is not gonna end well. It's not gonna end well for Yamamoto. I just have this feeling.
Oh no, like the third versus Orochimaru.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the vibe I'm getting.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I could see it going that way. I'm
I'd be
trying to
right. I really want to
recall
be wrong.
Yamamoto. You know, he tends to just let everybody else take care of things. Like even when Aizen was turning the worlds on their head, it seemed like he wasn't really doing much. So
He kind of liked to let his people do their thing, and he only stepped in when he had to. Like, he did step in and take Karakura eventually.
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, he defeated what's his name? The big monster that the three hollows make their combined left arms.
oh yeah, Ion.
Which made a
Ion.
reappearance here.
Yeah, it's yeah. I only
Yeah,
remember because it's in my mind. I recently watched that.
right. But he didn't fight Aizen himself. He left that to Ichigo.
I don't know. I hope
You'd
I'm
have to
wrong.
figure he probably could have defeated Aizen.
He probably could have, although actually I'm not sure.
Well,
If
true. Aizen's powers are
if
weird.
Aizen wasn't messing with his head, absolutely no question.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Are we
the
gonna
other
see
thing.
Aizen? Aizen's locked up or something. I only know this because someone told me. Thanks, spoiler on Twitter.
Oof.
I'm not
I
the
hate
only
when
one
people do
spoiling.
that. Don't do that when I'm telling you I'm watching it and I'm this far along. Don't tell me what happens. That's just
I've had
rude.
so many
That's
spoilers from anime
rude.
on Twitter. It's a thing.
That's so rude. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I hope I'm wrong. But I just have this feeling. I have this inkling again. I don't like it. Yamamoto getting involved. It's only episode 5. He's engaging the big bad. I just don't see it ending well.
Mm.
Or maybe they'll both retreat and it'll be great, and then they'll all have to find new powers.
Well,
That would be preferable.
we're just getting started in a multi-season ish long
It's
arc.
4
So.
cores, about 13
Yeah.
episodes each. I say 4 cores before it's not out yet, but that's the plan. At least it's for it to be the end of
Mhm.
it.
You know, and it
from
worked.
what I'm told, that's gonna be the end of it. So
Honestly, Kenpachi should be a great example for the rest of these Soul Reapers because they clearly have been relying way too much on their Bankai. Get your
oh,
shit together,
absolutely.
Soul Reapers. Get your fucking shit together. If Kenny can do it, you can do it too. Come on.
Y'all need a training arc.
Yeah, clearly. That's all I
Ah,
got.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so in fairness, Yamamoto was already under Aizen's spell, so he couldn't necessarily do what he can against another opponent.
Yep, that would be why I don't think he dealt with Aizen, because he couldn't.
Right.
Whereas Ichigo seemed to be immune to it. I'm not 100% clear why that worked the way it did.
That kid's immune to a lot of things for some reason.
He is immune to a lot of things, and
Maybe
you're
it's
going
because
to,
he's the main character.
I mean, ultimately yes, but there are explanations for things.
He's got
in this
plot
anime.
armor.
Yeah, they do explain things. And I have a theory about why his Bankai can't be sealed, but I don't want to mention it because it is probably a spoiler for Kuro.
Thank you. No, you already ruined all the rest of the episode.
I'm not
Go
gonna ruin
ahead.
this. I'm not gonna ruin this.
I mean, how you genuinely don't know, right? You just saw the preview.
Oh no, it's not about a preview. No, it's
Oh, okay.
it's some vague other information I know about Ichigo. So
Oh, about who is maybe something to do with his mother and why Quilgi was all weird about him.
there's probably a reason why he's a special threat. Kenny is also considered a special threat.
I'm gonna
seems
just
to
sit over
recall.
here and laugh.
Right. Well, anyway, before we get to to whatever, Steven, any thoughts on this episode of Bleach?
Let's see. I have notes. Hold on. It was fun. Fun in a way of than the other episodes, which were like kind of establishing what was going on with everything. One of the things that I did write down was funny how a guy named Overkill, whose nickname is Overkill, gets his face melted off by Yamamoto's rage ability. Like, funny, that guy's like, yeah, I can do what I want. And Yamamoto's like, sure. And then just melts his face right off. And it's like, okay, cool. And then you have the 3 Stern Ritters that Kenpachi just goes up, straight up murders each one of them. I felt bad for the Riddler guy, the question or whatever his name was. I'm like, he's like trying to ask questions to him, and he's like, I don't care what you say, stop talking. Just like rips his like voice cords out, and it's like he's dead right there, man. It's like they all had a comical end, but just ripping out the guy's throats, as he starts rambling about their plans, he goes, I don't have time for you. That's fun. I mean, I did feel bad for that Riddler dude, but that was, fun. Aside from that, great episode. Ichigo's still stuck in the prison, which he needs to figure out how he's doing. I mean, the guy must have some like Jedi mind power, or he kept the phone, on speaker, because he's hearing like people from all over, and it's like, I don't know how that phone's got a charge at this point. He's been stuck in limbo for like, however long, and they can't even take it. They know he's stuck there. And
Those
like,
flip
oh, well.
phones had batteries that lasted forever. We're just broken because of our smartphones. They suck. They suck batteries.
Maybe Ichigo has the right idea keeping the flip phone.
Yeah, the flip phone batteries. I turned one on after it was like 15 years old, and it still had 2 bars of battery left. Whoa! This is great.
It is kind of funny. I do want to say that the Soul Reapers treat Ichigo, his reinforcement abilities and whatever, as like some like delivery guy who's like going to come and like save him from like the world of the Munchies or something. Like, oh, he's coming, man. They're watching him on the app. They're tracking him. Oh, man, he's almost 2 stops away. I'm like, dude, the guy's stuck in limbo. I don't know how he's going to get his food to you, let alone try to escape.
Yeah, the Ichigo Eats delivery app shows that he's coming, but he's stuck in traffic.
Yeah.
Yeah. But otherwise, good episode.
Nice. I see in the chat, Jeff has a pretty good theory, I think, that the unknown assailant that probably killed Kilgay could be another Arrancar. Okay, it could be Grimjaw. That seems likely enough.
Interesting.
That's an interesting theory.
I still kind of hope it's Ichigo's dad.
The only reason I didn't think Arrancar, which I'm not, is because I assumed they had all been detained.
Yeah, some of the big ones are still out there, like Grimjaw.
By the Nazis. I mean, Sternritters.
One for every letter of the alphabet. J for jail. Oh, we're so clever.
Oh, that's not going to be stopping. That's going to keep happening.
Paul, you said you didn't watch this episode yet?
I laughed. It was funny. And stupid.
No, I haven't watched this episode yet, but I do have a theory that maybe because Ichigo has his other side, maybe that's why, like,
Yeah, that's what Kuro's theory was.
That was my only thought on that. So I was kind of thinking that there's also, I think there's something else, but because that could be a spoiler, I don't want to really mention that. So
perhaps it's the same thing I thought, but we will see.
Probably, but we're not going to mention that just yet.
Not going to mention that. Well, if you missed Bleach this week, your DVR probably didn't catch it because stupidly they changed the listing from 1000-year Blood War to 1000 no-year Blood War. and then it was referred to as a different show. This kind of thing happens on pretty much everything that airs on Toonami, and it's
That's
very
exactly
frustrating.
what happened to me. I was looking for it to rewatch, and it wasn't there.
Well, good
Exactly that.
job, guys. Now everybody's gonna go to Hulu to watch Bleach.
Hulu or Disney Plus with the Hulu add-on.
We do have a free 30-day thing that you can sign up for.
What's the point of
Just
that?
saying.
That served. What purpose did that serve? Just changing the name of the programming, like
It's
seriously.
so
It's
arbitrary.
weird.
It is.
Like, I kind of expect this sort of thing with One Piece because there's so many seasons, so many arcs, yada yada. But, like, are you kidding? It's only the 4th episode and you've already messed it up.
By the way,
Ugh.
I find it interesting that Daima is on the Adult Swim app, yet Bleach is not.
Well, we have
It's
our
not
theories.
on demand either. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have our theories about that sometimes they just can't get the streaming VOD rights. And it honestly, if that's what it takes for them to get some of these shows, that's okay. It's better than not being able to get them just because they're arbitrarily holding out to get the on demand. But yeah, it's very annoying because if you can only DVR the show and they change it's like you always have to check every week to make sure that the listing is going to record. It's very stupid. Wouldn't be a problem if you could just set a time like the olden days with a VCR.
Yeah.
Nope. You gotta. Plus, everything was offset by like 15 minutes because of Daima this week, so. Great. Fantastic. Not a problem if you're watching live, I suppose, but not everybody can. So, bummer. And if you missed Bleach this week, hopefully we did a good enough job of telling you what happened.
I'd say we did an okay job.
Yeah, I think so. All right, on to Blue Exorcist.
Yes. So last week we left off with Rin passed out in front of all the Myoto sect after revealing himself in a fit of peak teenage boys. And they're still in the lower keep. Shima's dad, Yaozo, says that the priority right now should be the right eye and secretly asks Juzo to tail the master. Seems he doesn't quite trust him or something. Meanwhile, Master Suguro uses the pretense of feeling up Shura's butt to slip a note in her back pocket. And when Shura observes this, then she gets a call from Yukio. Yukio, who is... he's back. I guess he's here to stay. He is here to stay. Sorry, guys. Yukio then shows up with the other exorcists that were meant to be hunting Todo and failing, apparently. They were very easily misled. Todo and Mamushi, meanwhile, have arrived in a dark cloud of smoke in the city proper. And Mamushi is holding the right eye in her. And I should mention last week I messed up. I was saying they had the left eye. I was incorrect. They have the right eye. The left eye has already been stolen. Except now the right eye has also been stolen. So Mamushi is struggling. It's just interesting if you see her compared to Todo, who seems perfectly at ease with the left eye in his eye. Back at with the monks, Yaozo holds a meeting with the senior Myoto sect members, with Yukio's exorcists, and debriefs them with the events of the last episode, of all the events in the keep and the theft, etc. Yukio shares that their cell phones were jammed and he wasn't able to contact anyone from the exorcists or Shura, and he believes it's a ploy for Todo to buy time and muses about what he could be up to. Yaozo explains that there are many secrets Myoto has been keeping that only Master Suguro is aware of and keeps. But he does share the story of the impure king, that if both eyes are reunited, a new, worse miasma will be unleashed, and it will be more potent than anything before. While they all discuss possible ways to follow Toto and Mamushi, they recognize that there really is no trail, but Yukio revisits his memories with Toto and wonders what he's waiting for since he has both eyes, why he hasn't released the miasma yet, and what he could be up to. Shura pulls Yukio aside and explains that Rin fucked up. He revealed himself in front of the whole sect, and of course, Yukio, understandably, is infuriated. Meanwhile, back in the cell, Rin finally comes to, and he reflects back on what Fujimoto had told him about the Koma sword, specifically about it sealing his powers, and that once he unleashed it, he would never be able to go back to being fully human. He also reflects on the Grigori hearing, and this is sort of a continuation of the last two episodes, because the original hearing from the OG series went slightly differently than the way it went canonically. So the way that they're incorporating that is through flashbacks, interestingly enough, which isn't a bad tactic. So instead of, if anyone remembers, in the OG series, Rin was kind of frozen. What actually in this flashback, Rin is awake. He's captured and he's on his knees and he's sort of defeated and emotional and having a hard time with hearing all these people talk about him like he's not a real person, but he's right there. So he has this fiery reaction because that's all he is capable of. Having fiery reactions. And understandably gets very angry. Yukio tells Shura that he is determined to protect Rin no matter what, and that he promised Father Fujimoto in a rare moment of brotherly love. Shura points out that being uptight will make him more susceptible to being turned, and Yukio takes the bait after she tells him to loosen up and tells her that he hates her. Definitely didn't expect that. She laughs it off. Who can hate Shura? She's funny. She amuses Mabel. Meanwhile, Shimi is busy with chores when Izumo finds her looking very cute in her yukata and compliments Shimi, calling her brave. Shimi admits to feeling bad because she thought she was getting closer to the Okumura brothers, but they were actually keeping things from her. And she realizes she screwed up by reacting the way she did, and now feels too embarrassed to speak to Rin, so she's dealing with it by just doing more chores. Right before Izumo is about to ask if she has a crush on Rin, Shima interrupts them and really cutely calls Izumo cute. I agree. And says that they need Shimi's help. He takes them to where Ryuji and the other boys are, and Shimi treats his bruised face, and then he explains what happened with Rin and all the stuff in the deep keep. Oh noes. Shura brings Yukio to his brother, and he looks very disappointed. He calls him out for not making good on his word to surpass him, if you will. And Shura then passes on the note to Rin from Master Suguro. And he realizes he can't read it because it's in cursive script. This is why it's very important to have not messy handwriting, people. You never know when you may be imprisoned and need to know very important backstory. So practice your handwriting, everybody. Yukio is able to read some of it, and they begin to learn Tatsuma's story. He starts out asking Rin for a favor, but first he decides he's going to share his past. And we see the beginning of a flashback. Back when he was younger, his wife, who was ill with the miasma but also pregnant. The master, who is Tatsuma's father and also infected by the miasma, admonishes Tatsuma for not praying enough and devoting time to tending the sacred flame and being distracted by his wife. And makes a really callous point of, if she dies, just find a new one. Yikes. And I don't know if anyone noticed, but you can see in the background there Konokomaru's father, which I don't think we've seen before. So, he died. So that's a little interesting tidbit. Anywho, he says that the secrets of the sect must pass down to him. So obviously it's critical for him to have an heir. He reveals that he's the 17th in a line of high priests of the Myoto sect. And one day, while tending the sacred flame, a demon falls from the sky with a very sassy exorcist shotgunning him. And that turns out to be a younger Fujimoto, because Fujimoto's a badass. He sees the Sakoma sword laying on the ground after he, puts off the sacred flame with the demon he was hunting, and then he claims it in spite of the monk's objections. The story is then interrupted by the boys reacting and, oh no. And then we see Master Suguro in the present time running someplace and out of breath, and he mentions that he's putting his purpose in life to the test. So this is one part of a two-part flashback episode. Obviously, we're going to learn more about Fujimoto and Suguro's past, and we know that Suguro in the present tense, if you will, and Fujimoto were friends. But yeah, let's talk about it. Start with you, Steven. What are your thoughts on this episode?
I liked it. It seems like it's weird, right? I want two things with this show, and it feels like it's giving me those two things. So, okay, start over. So, it's a setup episode that feels good, right? There's going to be a payoff afterwards. What's it going to do? But it devolves into the characters talking about the cursed eye thing, about it's going to be either miasma or they don't know what's happening with that Toto guy. Like, fine. Can you talk about something other than that? I understand this miasma is going to be going all over, but I mean, there's people that survived at that, at that, what was the grounds that they were at. It's like, I mean, with treatment, they can survive. I mean, it's not going to be that bad, but you have some bumps on your face. It looks like there was bumps on other people's face that still didn't get treated that much. So,
to be fair, it did kill 2 exorcists.
oh, okay, then, well, maybe
Yeah.
it's that bad. But maybe the terrible one's going to be worse.
Yeah.
It would feel a little bit more fun that they didn't try to like shoehorn all of this amongst what's happening with Rin and then Shugo's old guy, his father. It's like because what's going on with him? He's running to he's running a marathon. That guy is like he can't even make it up the mountain anymore, and it feels like he's been doing this for a bit. Like he's been training and this is it and everything, and Rin has to figure that out. And then you have at the end of the episode, Rin's father just coming out there, a priest with a shotgun. That had to be like the best single shot in that whole episode. Just like him, and that's why I clipped it and put it up there on social media. It's like the best thing. The priest with like a shotgun taking out that bird. To me, that was like, okay, that's kind of cool. But it feels like there's some pretty fun moments leading up to the point. It's just, I don't know. I just want to see what it's going forward to reveal, because it feels like the cursed eye thing is like not a non-issue, but it's like they want to really focus on the characters and just have them do this mystery hunting thing of like who has an eye, who doesn't have an eye, are they going to join into, both in the one thing? Are they going to just revive the Cursed King or whatever his name was? I don't know.
I mean, they wouldn't take the eyes if they weren't going to revive. But Mamushi thinks that she's keeping it safe. She's been manipulated here. She thinks that she's
Orochimaru's daughter. Yeah, her.
Yeah, she thinks that it wasn't safe where it was. A, it was the other one was stolen, and B, she doesn't trust the exorcists anymore. And Toto, of course, he wants the eyes for his own purposes. We know that he's been taken over by some evil intent, and he's manipulated her into stealing it for him. So this is no way going to end well for her.
No, she's basically dead, but good for her for sticking up for or for sticking up for what she believes in. You know what? Good for her.
I think it's really interesting here that she is suffering from the effects of the eye while Toto isn't. Sketch,
Oh,
what
I
did
think
you
it
think about
says
that?
Actually, I want to hear what Laser has to say about
I did.
that.
Oh, he's watched it with me before we watched
Yeah.
it.
I was just gonna say I think it's an interesting dichotomy of who is evil, who is not. Evil doesn't hurt evil, but it seems to hurt not evil.
Did she not notice
Hmm.
either? I think that's like, how did she not
I
notice?
she's naive. She's
And
just
how did she see, like, Toto just came crashing through that deep keep ceiling, like she really hasn't thought this through, because
No, she
where does
hasn't.
she think that power came from? He's literally floating. Nobody
Dude's
has that
all
ability.
nonchalant. He's all like, "Are you doing okay?" He's got his arms crossed. It's like just perched up there.
She's
I'm
gonna lose
fine.
her mind when his ears and his tail come out. She's gonna be like, "Oh, I fucked up," and it's gonna be really satisfying. Except it'll be too late because you stole the eye, you dumb bitch. Sorry.
Yeah.
Critical
Yeah.
thinking does not seem to be one of her greatest skills.
No. No.
Imagine
no,
being
no.
that easily manipulated.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, she's gonna have to learn the hard way. Oh boy. You say that those two guys become friends, but what? They don't seem very friendly when they first meet. So, like, yeah, your sacred relic, I'm gonna take it. You can't
And we
take
know
the
he
sacred
does.
relic.
We
We
know he
do know.
takes it.
We know
So
he
love
takes
to
it.
know how that turns out.
How do they become friends after that? That is, that's a good question. Father Fujimoto here being like an angel with a shotgun. I feel like the theme, if what at least one of the themes of Toonami this week is old guys being badasses.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Though Fujimoto's pretty young at this point. Yeah. Good good episode. I like the background, I like the focus on of course what a lecher, or at least he comes off as a lecher. Ryushi's dad is, you got a nice booty, girl. Like, come on. Must you be the stereotype old man? Must you? I his sick wife in this flashback, is that the same wife he still has?
Yes. It's the same
Oh,
wife.
it is.
Yes. She's pregnant with Ryuji.
She's pregnant with Ryuji right now.
In
Oh.
that flashback, yes.
Well, if she's pregnant with Ryuji right now, then it's not long before the twins are born.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Putting it together.
Putting it together. Yeah. The pieces are coming together. So that was a good episode. Good always love seeing more Father Fujimoto. That's great.
You know, it's interesting you say that, and actually, I think Laser, you could probably comment on this as well. Father Fujimoto he dies very, very early in the series, and yet his impact, his presence is constant because we keep getting arcs with flashbacks about him and how he has impacted certain characters or or influenced certain events, and how that is playing out continuously, throughout the series. I think there's a specific term, like, I don't know if it's trope, but when this happens in a series, when a dead character, gone character, but still has like a very heavy influence on the events. But I do think that's really interesting, and it feels very organic too. It doesn't feel disruptive in the sense that sometimes backstories can be.
It's something that Blue Exorcist does really well.
Mhm.
Is Father Fujimoto lives on the way you're supposed to live on, with his ideas and his children. And
Yeah.
those follow forward into the story, and that's why it's natural, because that's how these things work. The impact we leave is the, the things we leave behind, the ideas, the care, the family. That's how we leave ourselves behind.
Yeah. Yeah. Really good points. Yeah.
So I don't like Rin being in the cage and Yukio being like, oh, you shut up.
Yeah, we had a break from him and now he's back.
You weren't here. I am kind of annoyed at Shura for not better explaining it to Yukio. Because even though Yukio still probably would have been mad at his brother, if he understood the reason why Rin got mad, maybe he'd be a little less judgmental. Maybe. He's
She
still
doesn't
Yukio,
seem
though.
like the type to care about all the drama, though.
No, not really. But still.
What'd you think about what she said to him about how he's too uptight and that
Oh
that
yeah.
could lead down to the dark side? What'd you think about her
Uh-huh.
saying that to him?
Yeah. You gotta loosen up. It's people like you that get turned. Oh.
Yeah.
And Toto also told him something similar.
Yep,
So
he's heard
Yeah.
it twice now, this story arc. Don't give into the temptation, Yukio. Do not come to the dark side.
they do not, in fact, have cookies. They are a lie.
How dare they? How dare they?
What, Steven, do you have any thoughts about that? About what Shura said about Yukio being too uptight?
Yeah, he is. That dude, I mean, I know I'm uptight, but that guy's got like a wedgie in him or something that he needs something, man. It's not that he follows the rules too much. It's that he's been trained too much by the Exorcist, I would say, because his father, Father Fujimoto, is like the complete opposite from that. And if you're listening to people and you're being raised by him, you would almost be like him, kind of like what Rin is kind of doing. And it's like, no, you're not. So you weren't listening to him the whole time. You were trying to go on your own path. But then Toto's telling him, hey, you're going to turn one day. And it's like, I don't know what's going to happen in the future of this show. But if he turns and turns evil, you know what? It's worth it. Because it's like you have a better story arc. You have a better character. I mean, he's basically a villain right now against Ren. It'll just prop Ren up even more. So I'm rooting for him to turn evil.
Refreshing, though, in this moment to hear him say that he had promised to keep Rin safe and he was going to do whatever it took.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Like,
that
I
says
like
a lot
this
about.
version. Go
It
on.
says a lot about the character in general, that is a major factor in his mind. Even if he has other issues that affect the way he does things, clearly that promise means the world to him.
Yeah, they definitely could use, some therapy about how to communicate as brothers, but they still, is as perverse as their communication form is within, to each other, they still clearly have a strong enough bond that, they care for each other. I know obviously Rin is very emotional and he cares for Yukio, but they're also a foil to each other. They're on opposite sides of the spectrum in terms of how they express themselves and personality wise.
Gosh, it's like if Naruto and Sasuke were actually brothers.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I wanted to give a shout out in the comments. Cleo's 1986 said Tatsuma and Dandy would have gotten along well.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Respect the booty.
Yeah.
The booty, baby.
We respect the booty.
Yes.
Jason DeMarco
Paul.
has gone on record to say that he did not prevent Space Dandy Season 2 from happening.
You can hear more if you listen to our interview with him.
Yes, which I am currently still editing, but it should be out by the time this podcast is live.
Ooh, I know I'm looking forward to it.
It was great.
Not
it
the
was
live
really,
stream,
really
obviously, because we're doing that right now.
great. No. Paul, you really need to watch this season of Blue Exorcist. It's so good.
It is
I-
the best season. I will back that up.
It is.
I have way too much to watch at the moment, so
What
Like, it's not
what is
my
on your
favorite, but
current
it is
watch
An
probably
list?
embarrassment of riches from Toonami lately. It's nice.
Are you
It
talking
is.
just Toonami?
some other shows too that I want to watch, but yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, does that do that for our do that? Does that do it for our Blue Exorcist discussion?
Yeah, things are moving quickly in the Blue Exorcist world, so we'll just have to follow up next week.
Mm-hmm.
We'll miss you,
Now-
Sketch.
You keep on talking about that, but I don't know. I might feel like
Oh.
being present, but
Well, then you can edit this
we'll
out
see.
if you're here.
But I'll
Bet
be
it's
editing
live
this-
right now.
Posts.
I'll be editing it before it happens, so
So maybe
I
I'm ruining
just-
things now.
maybe I don't. Yeah, big night of Toonami we had. There was a game review. Game looks pretty cool. Gosh, what was it called?
I
I
always love when
don't-
there's a new game review.
Don't remember. Do not remember. But it sure was a game review. But we also had the premiere of Dragon Ball Daima, and though it honestly doesn't make much sense to recap a recap. Jeff chimed in. The Midnight Walk. Oh right, yeah. I was thinking it
Gonna
was
look it up.
an amusing title because it made me think of Hellsing Ultimate Abridged. going on a walk. Very spirited walks. Yeah, a midnight walk.
I played
Check it
Lost
out.
in Random and I loved it, so I will definitely be playing this. If you haven't, you
Cool.
should definitely play Lost in Random. It's one of those like artsy type of games. It's got like a little it's like Tim Burton meets Alice in Wonderland, but not in the movie sense, like in just the video game sense. Yeah. So it's made by the same people. I don't know if that was obvious, so I'm definitely I'm looking forward to watching it. It looks cool.
Mhm. So yeah, it doesn't make much sense to recap. Oh, recap though. There were some things that weren't a recap, and I do like a speed run of the events of Dragon Ball Z. It looks really nice.
I will say that it is important because they are setting up for things to come.
They are,
Mhm.
because Dragon Ball Daima heavily relates back to things that happened in the Buu arc, like the Majins.
It's sort of like how Cell is heavily informed by the Red Ribbon arc. Daima is heavily informed by the Majin Buu arc.
Yes. And Dabura was actually kind of a big deal.
Yes,
You don't really think about it. I mean, they called him the Demon King, but
from the Demon Realm, and it was a big deal. And then he just died.
and then he died. Yes. Then he died.
But that has some ramifications. The fact that he died.
Certainly does, because the next guy in line is such a little shit.
Oh my god. I was watching that one with my my buddy Archangel, and it's his favorite character.
I totally get it. He's a fun character. He's got a bit of that Garlic Jr. energy.
I feel like he's peel off.
Right. I should have been.
Well, I mean, Garlic Jr.
Look,
fits too.
Garlic Jr. and Pilaf look so similar.
They do, and it doesn't help that they act very similarly. The only real difference is that Garlic Jr. can fight.
The only real difference is Garlic Jr. is not canon.
Oh, I mean, that's true too.
But yeah, Peel off can't fight.
No.
So yeah, they see what these guys are capable of. They're like, oh boy, it would be bad if they came to the demon world, right? Yeah, that'd be bad for us. So what do?
Let's make it so they have to.
Yeah, not a good plan.
We never
Not-
said
not a
that
good plan.
Gomo was smart. In fact, I think I'd say very much the opposite.
And did you imagine that the Supreme Kai had both a brother and a sister?
I did not. Expanding on how the Kais work is actually one of my favorite parts of Super in Daima in general.
Yeah, and also learning that Namekians came from the demon world. It's like, oh, if they have pointy ears, they're from the demon realm. What?
All right, then.
You're just gonna say that? Okay, sure, whatever. Playing into old guys being badasses, that really old Namekian who can not only summon the Dragon Balls but also recharge them immediately.
Well,
That is
Neva's
so
gonna
hacks.
never let you down.
Never gonna let you down. Sometimes when he's talking, he sounds like Winnie the Pooh.
He kind of does sometimes.
Whereas there's a character in
That was
Dragon Ball
really
Super
bad.
that is straight up Winnie the Pooh. A jacked Winnie the Pooh, that is, in the another one of the.
Yeah.
They do sort of acknowledge Dragon Ball Super, and they're like, which realm are we going to? The seventh universe?
There are a number, and throughout the whole show, there's going to be a number of like winks and nods to Super. So people are like, oh, are they canon to each other? Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't mean that it's going to be perfect fit because it's Dragon Ball, but
Mm-hmm. And Supreme Kai's sister is clearly scheming something. She's very smart and very crafty.
Dr. Arinsu, no, she would never do anything like that.
Why'd she show up in the human realm before they did?
Vacation, that's it.
Yeah, taking some of that vacation. And don't piss off the goldfish portal. It's very sensitive. And just to tease a little bit more, here's a fight between Goku and Vegeta that looks really nice.
Oh gosh, Daima is so pretty.
Why are you doing this to me, Toei? You know what I want. Give it to me. Give me a complete reanimation of Dragon Ball and Z. Give it to me. Ugh. I want it so bad. Yeah, this is all just a 45-minute prep course for what's to come, and it ends with everybody getting small. That's an interesting choice. Cue the theme song. So we're gonna hold off on talking much about Dragon Ball Daima until Lazarus ends. And it just so happens that Toonami is taking a week off for 4th of July weekend for a Superman marathon, right in time for the upcoming Superman film in theaters. So they're going to re-air the entirety of Season 2 of My Adventures with Superman for a marathon from midnight to 5 a.m. 4th of July weekend. And that means none of the regular shows are airing, so it's a perfectly good week for us to catch up on all the Daima discussion, and I don't know, maybe we'll talk about One Piece. We're due.
Yeah, we are.
Dressrosa is wrapping up, so we're due. Yeah. But I guess since Paul is here, what I know you've seen the first 3 episodes, Paul, but what do you think of the first episode of Dragon Ball Daima?
kind of meaningless at this point. I mean, it's basically just recapping, like we said, the Boo arc. So I mean,
Yeah, honestly, I wish they had played the first 2 episodes,
That would have been nice. I do think
especially
the
since
first
they're
episode's
taking a
important.
week off like immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think it's important to have it there because not everyone is like me and has a catalog memory of, okay, well, this is what happened in the Majin Buu arc.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if they needed a full like extra 10 minutes to really do everything they
That
needed
I'm
in
not
that
sure
episode.
about. Yeah, that might have been overkill. I'll give you
They
that.
kind of lingered a bit, but I did enjoy the the play-by-play commentary of their like, oh look, they defeated Majin Buu. Did they though? It's like they know. They know there's plenty more BS to come. Typical Dragon Ball. I mean, the Boo
Yeah.
Saga had constant. Oh, is this the end? No, 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 no. This fight is far from over. Hey, kind of like in Dressrosa, though it did it much, much, much before Dressrosa was a thing. What can we say? Oda learned from the best?
Yeah.
Perhaps. Steven, what are your initial impressions of Dragon Ball Daima?
I liked it. The recap was okay. It was cool with the commentary in there of seeing everything going on and seeing them reacting to it like us reacting to it in that first moment that we seen it. Interest, a very interesting way of going to a different realm because I thought the demon world was off Snake Way, and is that how it works?
That's hell.
That's not the same
demon.
thing. I don't
No
know.
home for infinite losers.
I can actually give you a little bit more detail as a Dragon Ball super ultra dork.
Okay.
This concept is old, but it's not from any of the shows. It's from source books. Although I mean, it was hinted at in Buu arc because of Dabura, but it's basically an inverse universe. It's not like an alternate universe like you get in Super. It's literally like, I hate to use this term, but kind of like the Upside Down. It's the evil world opposite of the overworld. It was literally described as, it has its own Kaioshin Supreme Kai that are evil. It has the evil lord. It's an alternate world that is connected to intrinsically. Now I wouldn't say it's all evil because there's some definite changes from between that concept and what we see in Daima, but that's kind of what it is. It's like its own little thing.
Okay. So its own little pocket dimension type thing.
It's like a bigger dimension. Like it's a mirror universe,
Okay.
effectively.
Okay. Cool.
You're not going to get mirror characters, but you'll get
Yeah.
mirror positions.
Interesting. Okay. Aside from that, it looks like they're gonna play off those 3 robot dudes that are protecting the Dragon Balls in the Demon universe, which I'm looking forward to meeting those ones because he's like, the talking to the old Namekian, and he's like, "Hey, how you doing?" He goes, "I'm doing well." And so that feels cool. I see where they're laying the hints on that because the demons won't even touch these dudes, and if the demons won't touch them, these guys must be big deals. So that's going to be interesting to see that plot point play out because I can already see Goku trying to use those Dragon Balls to wish him and everyone else to normal age.
Let's be real.
Let's see.
Goku just wants to fight them.
Yeah. That's basically it. He just wants to fight. And he's a kid now, so he's like, oh, now I can fight him even more. long as he wants. I do want to know if
That
that
would be a
power pole
challenge.
and Nimbus are going to come back, because he can't fly anymore, and so they have to figure that out. Aside from that Namekian guy, dude, if they had that ability in the first Dragon Ball show, man, that thing would have been over within like a couple episodes.
It's like the meme, Dragon Ball with Neva. It's just like a paper.
That
Oh.
was so cool that he just used. I mean, he must have used like half his life force to do that, but man, he gathered all of them up, and it's like, okay, and then he refreshed them. I'm like, dude, that has to be one of the best characters in all of Dragon Ball, just to do the one thing that it took like months to do in every single episode.
You know, Shenron's always like, now tell your wish so I can return to my slumber. Man, you lazy dragon. You just like sleep all the time.
Like, how long?
I don't
How
know.
long?
If someone's
how
summoning
long
you
would
all the
you sleep?
time, I feel like I'd want to sleep too.
All the time? That's like once a year, though. But not this time. This time it's been less than a year.
Maybe it takes energy to grant people's wishes.
Well, I'm sure it does, but still. Y'all
You
need to
think-
sleep a year in between?
You think
longer?
I
Shenron,
mean,
yeah, would have like
Does he have
said,
no
"Hey,
hobbies?
Will you wake me up again?"
You know,
opinion
Shenron at
here
a
about
point is all
Shenron.
like, "Oh, it's you people again."
I feel like I know they're hoarding him. Like nobody else is allowed to make wishes. Like, come on, that's
no,
greedy.
no. If you use
Let
him a
someone
lot,
else-
you get bonus wishes.
I think that's bullshit.
That's a
Someone
bonus
else-
for regulars.
Someone else
Yeah.
should be able to collect Dragon Balls and have their own adventure and whatever and make their own wishes. I think it's bullshit that this crew is the only people that can do
They're
that.
not the only people. They're just the only ones we see. Although
How do
that
you know
does
that?
close up.
I don't think anybody else has a dragon radar than Bulma.
Well, that's going to be your real problem right there.
And
we-
oh my gosh, it's Super. We know that she collects them all the time just to do some cosmetic improvements to her already beautiful self.
It does close a
Yeah,
nice
I hate
loophole
it.
that was existing from the Broly film where we make one wish and it goes away. Well, now we know why, because it was
Yeah.
Chile.
Yeah, that's kind of silly though.
It's kind of silly.
It's such
but
the opposite of Dragon Ball GT, where they're like, "You abused the Dragon Balls, and this is your penance."
They are abusing the Dragon Balls, IMO.
So-
honestly, I like this much better than GT in that front.
Well, yes.
I had just one last question. So if Shenron knows, let's go in this timeline. So if Shenron knows Beerus in Super, he doesn't
does.
know these demon people, which I mean would be, I wouldn't say equal to his power, but he doesn't know. Shenron's like an old dragon.
He
thing,
understands.
like,
He's
he knows it, but he
connected-
doesn't say nothing. Like,
The
oh,
reason he
he like
knows-
groveled at Beerus. Like,
That's because he's connected to Kami.
okay.
So he has an intrinsic connection to the cosmos of this particular universe. So him recognizing, the destroyer god of his own universe, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cletus in the chat brings up that he thought it was funny Shenron didn't seem all that impressed with Goma, even though he's newly minted royalty.
Yeah.
Yeah, Goma does not impress him at all.
I mean,
to be
he doesn't
fair,
impress with
does
anyone.
Goma impress anyone?
It
Not
don't
even
impress
himself. Even
me
himself.
No.
much.
Not
I'm
at
not sure
all.
if he impresses himself, honestly.
No. I
By the
think
way-
he
I
wouldn't if
realizes
I looked like him.
he's not much of a guy.
By the way, if they're gonna continue with like Dragon Ball Super, can we keep this animation that we have in Daima? Just asking
Please.
for a friend.
Please.
Yeah,
Yeah,
some of
there is a
Super's
reason
rough.
this took a minute to come out when they didn't want to repeat that.
Hmm.
Understandable. Yeah, Toei has made a lot of changes since Super's first season. For the better, probably. Or at least the animation looks a lot better.
We hope.
And I'm not just talking about Dragon Ball. Obviously, One Piece had a huge glow up in Wano, but I digress.
That's that Fintani magic right there.
Oh yeah, the directors are doing the heavy lifting, but they also just got a lot of talented people working on these shows. So, if only they were given more time to do their magic.
Yeah.
That's not how it works, though. Nope. Yeah, we might mention Daima in the upcoming episodes, but probably not, because I feel like we're gonna have a lot to talk about, at least with Lazarus in the next 2 episodes. So we shall see. Yeah, that's our first taste of Daima, and it sure is Dragon Ball. I do appreciate how nonchalant the the demons were when they show up at the lookout. They're like, oh yeah, we're demons from the demon realm, and like we're like relatives to the Namekians and the Supreme Kai. Like, oh wow. By the way, we're taking the Dragon Balls. You what? And we're recharging the Dragon Balls. You what? And now you're a baby. What about the ones that are already children? Make them babies. Babies.
I like how they have to
Stupid.
specify. He goes, well, they're what
It's
age do
true.
you want them? The guy's like, first grade? I don't know.
You
And
should have made them
Shenron's
all
like,
babies.
do I have to get? Shenron's thinking in his head, I have to guess an age. I've been like, 10,000. I don't know what it's like to be 5.
Right? You should have gone with babies for everybody. Also, poor Goten and Trunks finally allowed to grow up a little bit, and now they're babies. Trunks is 9. Try not to think about it. It'll hurt your brain, probably.
Yeah.
Mr. Satan puts on a good party.
Trunks is 9. He's 9 months now.
Oh,
That
right.
Bulma probably paid for.
Oh. Yeah, well, yeah. Right. Actually, yeah, that would make way more sense. I mean, it's her kid. Of course she should be paying for the party. Right. Gohan only shows up in this episode. Spoiler.
Yeah. I thought they were going to do a lot more with him, but nope.
No, he doesn't even show up to the party, and maybe that's why. I don't know. He's busy being intellectual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One assumes he got Witch to be younger as well.
You would think, but we never see it.
No. See, for the entire run, I was expecting him to show up, be unaffected, and there be some kind of a reason for it. I thought they were playing the long game. No, they're not.
No, they basically they hang out just a little while as kids in this realm before they leave, and then there's no point where you see what's going on in the Earth realm with all these people that just became kids again, which is a real shame because there's definitely amusing possibilities that they could have explored.
I mean, they played around with Kid Roshi for a minute, and I would have loved to have seen more of that.
I wanted so much more because Jordan Dash Cruz does a perfect young Roshi based on
Absolutely.
Mike McFarlane's. It's so good. It's so
all
good.
of the guys that got to voice the young versions, it's insane how good they did.
Yes, they did very well. Very, very, very well. Oh, the other thing was they do retcon the I can't even pronounce it. The earrings. The
Potara.
Potara earrings. They retcon. It's like, yeah, well, we saw that you guys got separated when Boo ate you, so we just asked Boo to eat us Boo! Eat 2 people, spit out one. Eat 1 person, spit out 2.
This is a bit of an odd choice because it's like, okay, but then you're gonna re-merge yourselves and then split apart again because that's kind of how Super went.
I don't know.
It's
Also, Supreme Guy's like,
weird.
well, I just didn't want to be merged with such an old guy, and oh boy, Kibito was pretty hurt by that statement. But hey, now they're all first graders.
Yay!
Kibito's in for a hard time. I'm sorry. He has a lot of utility, and they will use it. Oh yeah. Now, he wasn't here last week, so I feel it's only appropriate to let Paul go off on Ronin Warriors.
Oh, why do you set me up like that? Jesus Christ.
Ronin Warriors.
Well, if you would have said to me that all of a sudden out of nowhere, like a sequel to Ronin Warriors was going to drop, I probably would say you're insane, but
Yeah, wasn't on
But
any
here
of
we
the
are.
card.
here we are. I kind of got to reserve it because I don't know exactly where they're going with this. Also, you kind of just get to see like this little piece of what they're working on, so it's like
I'm not
I'm
sure
not
if
gonna
it's a
go off of
sequel
that.
or if it's like a remake. That's what I'm not clear on.
it's kind of more of a spin-off because it's like its own thing, but obviously it's Ronin Warriors. All new
It's
characters.
like it's new characters, so is this like next generation or is this a retelling?
The bad guy's the same. It's
Yeah.
Talpa again, or
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is Talpa. But is this Talpa again after the events of Ronin Warriors, or is this instead of?
Yes.
the
It's
description
set in
I
the modern world.
read kind of sounded like this does happen in the same universe, but now it's modern times.
So it's
Right.
like
Wow.
30 years later. In which case, they better explain what the connect. I want to know what happened to those other characters. There are a lot of questions, especially after those OVAs.
Well, you got to take it. You got to. It's probably going to be the same thing where, they have to go on a journey and try to find and stop him again because obviously they stopped him 30 years ago. I'm just gonna say this right now. If the white armor is not included in this, I'm gonna be a little pissed.
That'd be like doing a new Dragon Ball and not having Super Saiyan.
Yeah, that's probably not going to happen. I mean, think of the merchandising.
Well, what was it called? It wasn't. Oh my god!
Samurai
I gotta think way
Troopers?
back. No.
Oh.
The white armor when they all combine their powers into
The Inferno.
one armor. Inferno. So so it's not white armor, it's Inferno. So
We knew what he meant, though.
yeah.
Yeah, we
So I mean, we can't obviously say white armor because that's not going to look good. But yeah.
So
I mean,
now what Paul wants is he wants Voltron Legendary Defender. Let's just throw in 2012 Thundercats. In fact, let's make new episodes of Thundercats 2012.
I mean, it needs it.
oh,
It does.
I was really hoping that
Jason, you have one job.
I was really hoping that Jason would be like, "Oh, by the way, tell Paul that we're working on Thundercats." I would have been like, "All right, I can die. I'm good. We're good."
I would actually almost rather, though, like and this is gonna sound dumb, but a sequel to the '80s one, but like many decades later or something, like a new generation or something, because the original Thundercats does have an interesting ending point.
Yeah, they could totally do that.
I mean, there are those comics that do that, but let's pretend those don't exist because they're kind of bad.
I mean, I would. So, part of me wants them to finish the 2011,
I
2012
would like that.
Thundercats
I would honestly
just because that story was so good that it was like
the
it is
details on what they
Thundercats.
were going to do is out there. The producers have kind of
Oh, I know.
told
And
us.
some of those details, I was like, yeah, I'm like, I don't know if I really want to. I really
That's
don't know if
kinda
I
why
want a
I'm
main
not-
character killed off, but okay. So yeah, I don't know if I was.
Maybe it's good we didn't get Plan A.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm not. Again, I'm not saying that I wouldn't.
I would
wouldn't
even
want
be
them to
fine
do
with
that, but-
another remake, but none of this Thundercats Roar crap. If you're gonna do a
Oh my
remake,
God.
do it respectfully, for God's sake.
Jesus Christ, no, please don't.
But
I'm
Warner
still not
Bros.
sure
doesn't
who
seem
the
to-
audience of that was.
No,
No.
I don't either. Like when I tried to watch, it's like we're making dumb jokes that fans of the original won't like, but kids won't understand. What are you trying to do?
Well, it's. I think what they were trying to do was Teen Titans Go, but Thundercats, and people were like, no, no, we're
Yes,
not
but
doing
again,
that.
the jokes rely on you having at least a basic
True.
knowledge of the original show. So and kids won't have that.
No.
I mean, if we're so like, don't get me wrong, I would like Thundercats again. However, like, I mean, there's so many other '80s shows out there that could get a chance to have a remake, or even like in
My
Road
biggest
Warrior's
concern
case.
is you want to get someone who knows
Star
what they're doing.
Blazers, and there's a remake out there.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
I
Well-
would love for Toonami to play Space Battleship
listen.
Yamato's.
Mhm.
Yes.
Now listen,
They're
I
gonna
need to
have
have
to
a little
fight
bit of.
Crunchyroll for that, though.
I need a little bit of Silverhawks. You know, come on.
Oh heck yeah!
I want to be able to make fun
I
of it.
suppose
So
it's due. Silverhawks is due for though. I'm still not entirely sure who owns the property rights to Silverhawks.
Warner.
I thought it was Warner, but
It's Warner.
It's really
there was
weird.
that movie announced that had nothing to do with Warner. So
True.
I don't know, but they do. They definitely own the show. So,
As far as I know, they own what was Rankin Bass, and that was a Rankin Bass show. So
You know what I actually really want to talk about, and then we can end the show. And then you're probably gonna kill me when I talk about this, but like, who in the fuck was behind? Well, I mean, we obviously know who was behind it, but who in the hell decided they wanted to kill this Megas XLR sequel?
God.
Like, you greenlight something and then you say fuck this. Like,
Yeah, it's an absolute victim of the
Merger.
smell
By the
of
way-
discovery.
by the way, help me out. Was this just going to be like an international thing, or were we going to be able to play it too?
I honestly don't know, but I feel like it would have only been international because I'm pretty sure they still can't make the show in the U.S. without like paying the government.
Yeah,
Oh.
that one's a little weird to me. So I'm confused at like what that would have been. And by the way, let's not let's not kid ourselves. That would get pirated very fast if it's if it's just overseas. So I'm gonna tell you that right now. It's gonna play either way. And maybe that might be something that we would encourage you to pirate, but that's neither here nor there. I don't know, like, I can't go too far into what because I obviously Jody made our logo, so obviously I talk to Jody every once in a while. He's one of the people that created Megas XLR, but you can tell that he's very, very sad about it. And that video that was put up kind of spurred him to like make that brief comment that you saw online. But yeah, he didn't really want to go into detail. So yeah.
Secret Galaxies or Toy Galaxies Megas XLR videos. It's a solid watch. I enjoy
Secret
their
Galaxy
stuff.
does amazing stuff. If you want to look at like retrospectives for various retro properties, they do a good job.
Yeah, they do a really good job. Usually very well researched. Though more than a few times I'm like, that's not quite how the events played out regarding something on Toonami and or Adult Swim.
It's not perfect, but it's pretty good.
It goes to show that outside of the US, and this is probably why linear channels are still somewhat popular in certain countries. It goes to show that some of these shows that are still out there that we can't see here are doing very well. And maybe, and again, some of those shows we can't have here if they do a new part, but it's I don't see why they don't greenlight some of this stuff. And to kind of bring this back around to what we were, Toonami and Lazarus and even Ninja Kamui, it's a good sign that Ninja Kamui is getting 2 more seasons, because that means, holy shit, they want to actually invest in this anime now. And if that's what we're going to get, and this is the way forward, I'm very happy for the future, because I think Adult Swim, when given the chance, especially in the anime market, can do very good anime. Just don't do robot samurais. That's all I care, unless it's Ronin Warriors. So it's a good way forward. I think this is good, but I also think that if there was this Megas XLR thing out here, like, maybe it's time to come back and rethink that, because guess what? If you're gonna give money now, let's do it. So
Yeah, there might be a ticking time bomb with the whole Warner Brothers Discovery split. Little concerned about that. Hopefully it doesn't affect anything that we know of already.
I mean, I know there were some cuts, but I don't know like what that meant for Adult Swim.
Yeah. There were layoffs at Cartoon Network in William Street.
Yep.
But according to Jason, all the people that were working on Toonami back in 2012 are still working on Toonami.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's good to know.
That is good to know. I'm
So
sure Adult Swim's keeping them busy with other promo work. I mean, that is their main job.
And here's the thing, like, I don't think, again, well, let's put it this way. We could go into a whole episode about linear channels and Adult Swim versus Cartoon Network and all that bullshit, but I don't see, I'm just gonna make this brief. I don't see Adult Swim going anywhere anytime soon. Some of the shows that are on Adult Swim do really well on Max. And it would be, well, I'm just going to say it would be stupid for them to be like, oh, yeah, no more Adult Swim.
The combination of premiering the show on Adult Swim linear and then putting it on Max has worked very well.
Yes.
So there's no reason to stop doing that.
Correct.
Even though somebody could probably argue, well, wouldn't it be better if these were just exclusive to Max? No, not necessarily. Look at all the things that were exclusive to Max that never took off.
And let's use Daima for example. Okay. So the Daima promo is up everywhere in our social media and everything. All of those videos have over 6,000 or more views on YouTube, which, by the way, our YouTube never really gets too much traffic. That has over 10,000 views right now as we speak. So when Toonami makes a promo, or even Adult Swim just makes a promo for a regular Adult Swim show, it does better. It's something that Crunchyroll needs to start doing better. It's something Netflix does okay at, but could do better. And as far as the other streamers go, I think they're actually doing a pretty good job. Like, I think Disney does a pretty good job of getting the word out. I think Hulu actually does a pretty good job as well. But there again, they're both the same. And even Max, when they do it the correct way, but they use linear more than anything to get promos out there. So, it goes to show a good promo will make your show better, especially for the English dub of Daima. So, But let's get out of here before Kuro comes after me with like an axe or a gun or something.
Or falls asleep.
Yeah, she falls asleep on the way to get you with the axe. Right. Well, you can email us at podcast@toonamifaithful.com if you have any thoughts about anything we've been talking about, all these current premieres, current events, Ninja Kamui coming back from I'm not going to say out of nowhere, but still a bit surprising. You can follow us on Facebook.com/Toonami Faithful Podcast and on Twitter @Toonami Podcast. You can listen to the podcast on just about everything, including Apple Podcasts, CastBox, Deezer, Google Podcast, iHeartRadio, Overcast, Podbay, Podbean, Podcast Addict, Radio.com, Spotify, and the TuneIn app. And you can find every episode of the podcast to stream online at the same place they found the encryptic clinical trials on Lazarus, SoundCloud.com/Toonami Faithful Podcast. And you can get the latest news by following @ToonamiFaithful.com on Blue Sky and @Toonami News on Twitter, and read the news, views, and reviews on ToonamiFaithful.com. Steven, tell the folks where they can find you.
You can find me live tweeting all of Toonami with Brittany or other fantastic social media superstar on Toonami News on basically every platform. But we're doing it on Blue Sky and on X. Find me personally if you do want to follow me. That's on MXA Ghost. Aside from that, have a good weekend.
Laser, tell the folks where they can find you.
Well, you can find me on Twitter @LaserKidPrime. You can find me on Blue Sky @LaserKid when I remember that I have a Blue Sky. And you can find me on my podcast, The Summoned Up Saints, where we talk about summoned up anime on Crunchyroll and High Dive. That's Summoned Up Saints on both Twitter and on Blue Sky.
Kuro, tell the folks where they can find you.
You can find me on Blue Sky, search Happy Kuro Kitty. You can find me on Twitter @Happy Kuro Kitty. And here on the podcast, chatting with you all. Where can they find you, Sketch?
You forgot Paul.
He's last, isn't he? I guess. Paul, where can they find you?
So where do I put Kuro? Because you know what? I'll just take away rewind. That'll take care of it. Anyways,
What?
so you can find me, hopefully sleeping in my bed soon. You can find me on Blue Sky. You can find me on X. Paul Bascrillo is where you can find me on those. You can find me on Instagram if I decide to let you into my private life. So yeah, I mean that's where you can find me. You can also email me, Paul Bascrillo @ToonamiFaithful.com as well. So, and Sketch, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter. We don't call it X around here. You
Nope.
call it X, and you're self-reporting.
I guess
You
I'm
can find me on
self-reporting.
Yes, you are. I'm Sketch1984 on Twitter, and you can search for Sketch1984 on Blue Sky. Yes. So thank you all for listening, whether you tuned in for our live stream or you're listening after the fact. And please check out our interview with Jason DeMarco, which should be up by the time you're hearing this podcast if you're listening to it in podcast form. It's a really insightful interview. And I'm sorry, we don't ask all the questions that we would have liked to. Some things just didn't come up. We were just kind of talking, and then he had to go. And we already had him for over an hour, so we didn't want to.
It was a good interview. I think it's important to put this context on it because we sometimes get comments about it. This isn't about putting Jason under the gun. It's not professional. It would damage the relationship. That's not why we're there. And it's not. It doesn't serve any purpose. The purpose of the interview was to ask him the questions that we asked him, which you'll hear if you listen to it. And it was a really productive discussion. He shared a lot of great information with us. And, our objective is always to maintain a healthy, good relationship with him. So I just, if you're on there and you're mad that you didn't hear whatever X question, just keep that in mind and be a little bit more understanding. And if you're listening, obviously, you might be surprised. You might be surprised about what some of the things that we discuss.
I certainly found some of it surprising.
It was very enlightening. It was a
Yes.
delightful discussion.
Yes,
And
I'm
remember,
sure
they
we've
came to
hyped it up
us.
enough. They
You
did.
didn't. I mean, don't get me wrong. That's not that I didn't harass them a little bit, but like they did come to us and say, "Hey, we have some availability for Jason. Do you
Yeah.
want to?"
Yeah.
Yes. You didn't even have to go any farther. Yes, that's fine.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you for coordinating that
Absolutely.
Ugh.
with our contact,
You're gonna
Nicole.
you're
at
gonna be very
Adult Swim.
happy when you listen, though. I feel like
Yeah.
you're gonna like the interview.
But
Oh, me?
spoiler alert, since
Mhm.
I'm spoiling so many things, we don't ask about Toonami Rewind. Frankly, I didn't want to. It's kind of not in his purview because he's not really it's really more of an Adult Swim programming type question. And believe me, I have some questions I would like to ask Kim Manning and Gail Austin if I could
Yes.
ever wrangle them.
Yeah, I'd love to get an interview with Gil. He's good looking
Yeah.
too. That helps.
It's been a good long while since we talked to Gil. Yeah.
Well, maybe Gil doesn't want to talk.
We gotta track him down at a
We
con.
have
That's what we
ways
gotta
to
do.
make you talk.
I mean, doesn't mean that I won't try, but or have I already tried?
These guys are always more willing to talk if you see them in person.
Yeah. And we're
Oh,
always
yeah, they
very
tell us all-
respectful.
They tell us all the juicy details, and we're not going to repeat them. So
Yeah,
you
that
know,
we
whatever.
can't tell us things we can't share.
That's right, but
Until
I still want to know.
years and years later.
Still waiting for that tell-all book. Gonna be first in line.
Me too.
But yes, thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoyed the conversation. We will continue with regular podcasts until morale improves. What? Morale has greatly improved. That joke would have been a lot funnier if I said it like 2-3 months ago.
By the way, we really should let me mention this before we get out of here. We really should do a new State of Toonami now that all this has happened.
Yeah, we
Oh.
should probably coordinate that. But I mean, like, what's there to say, really?
Well, I mean, we could talk about how much we love what's going on right now, basically.
Yeah, but I don't feel like that's that interesting of a conversation, much less one that we need to get a whole bunch of other people involved with. But let's see how things go for the rest of the year. See if there's more interesting developments. Like, we don't know what's going on with Rooster Fighter. Hopefully, we hear something soon. Primal's not until next year, which kind of bums me out. But
Also, my
what you gonna
cat
do?
my cat
You
says
gotta
hi.
you gotta let Gendy cook as long as he needs to. Gotta let him cook. Right. So thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed the conversation and share the podcast with your friends if you think they'd be interested. And until next time, old guys are badasses, am I right?
Yukio has the shrift of J for jailing his brother again.